They called him a long shot, a fifth-round pick who should have been lucky just to make the 53-man roster. Buried on the depth chart behind two rookies and a veteran. Most people didn't expect to hear his name again until 2026, if ever. But behind the scenes, something strange is going on in Cleveland, and it's all revolving around Shedeur Sanders. Reports are flooding in. Whispers from inside the Browns facility, sources close to the players, even heavy-hitting insiders like Colin Cowherd and Peter Schrager, all pointing to the same thing. Shedeur isn't just competing, he's winning. Winning over veterans, winning over coaches, winning the locker room, and apparently, winning over an aggressive owner with a history of quarterback interference. Because insiders now say Browns owner Jimmy Haslam didn't just want Shedeur Sanders on the roster. He demanded it. And lately, he's been applying serious pressure to the coaching staff to get Shedeur not just reps, but the starting job. This is no longer just a rookie QB trying to prove himself. This is what happens when politics, timing, and pure talent all collide in the middle of a franchise desperate for a fresh start. And the craziest part? The numbers, the tape, and the private testimonies all suggest the same thing. He might actually be the real deal. So what's happening behind the locker room doors? Did the Browns front office get caught slipping while the owner's plan quietly unfolded? And is it only a matter of time before Shedeur Sanders becomes the face of the franchise? That's exactly what we're breaking down today. Not just what's being reported publicly, but the rumors, speculation, and buried details that make this one of the most unexpected quarterback stories of the year. On draft day, the Browns were never supposed to take Shedeur Sanders. That much is clear. Inside the front office, reports say the plan was to walk away with one rookie quarterback, and it wasn't going to be Sanders. When Gabriel's name came off the board nearly 2 full rounds earlier than expected, that should have been the end of it. Lock in your backup, play it safe, move on. Except Shedeur Sanders was still sitting there, and that's when everything changed. Despite no private workout, limited pre-draft exposure to Cleveland staff, and a board stacked with other needs, the Browns pulled the trigger in the 5th round. According to insiders, it wasn't a calculated move. It was a surprise, even to some in the war room. And the reason might have very little to do with scouting reports or team fit. Reports suggest that owner Jimmy Haslam was already making noise weeks before the draft, pushing aggressively behind closed doors for Sanders to be part of the team. Why? Because he saw more than just a developmental rookie. He saw a headline, star power, someone who could bring eyes to a franchise that's been buried in quarterback controversy for years. GM Andrew Berry would later claim the team was shocked Sanders was still on the board. But behind that public statement, rumors immediately began swirling. Did they really draft Gabriel early just to stop Haslam from getting his guy? Was Sanders a backup plan or part of something bigger? It didn't take long for that quiet pick to become the loudest story in the building. And what happened next would throw Cleveland's quarterback room into complete chaos. If there's one thing NFL insiders agree on, it's this. When Browns owner Jimmy Haslam wants something, he doesn't wait for permission. And this time, he wanted Shedeur Sanders. According to Colin Cowherd, Haslam didn't just like Sanders, he forced Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski into drafting him. That's not speculation. That's what's reportedly been whispered across league circles since the pick was made. Front office sources say Haslam was so determined to land Shedeur, it created serious tension within the building. Stefanski wanted Gabriel, plain and simple. That was his guy. Safer, quieter, more traditional. They reached to draft him a round or two early, possibly as a strategy to keep Shedeur off the board entirely. Figuring if they grabbed a QB first, the owner would back off. He didn't. Instead, Haslam doubled down. And when Shedeur was still sitting there in the 5th round, the owner didn't just suggest the pick. He reportedly stepped in, making it crystal clear that this was happening, whether the coaching staff liked it or not. That decision sparked a silent civil war inside the building. One side believed Gabriel was the safe bet. The other, led by the man who signs everyone's checks, believed Shedeur was the future. And in Cleveland, it's never been a secret who wins those battles. The front office didn't plan for this. The coaches weren't ready for this. But now they were stuck with two highly visible rookie quarterbacks, and one of them came with massive expectations from the very top. The question wasn't just who would start anymore. It became how long could the coaching staff hold off the owner's hand-picked QB before the spark ignited into a firestorm. And that fire was coming fast. Inside the Browns organization, things were tense. Publicly, the leadership kept the story clean. Open quarterback competition, fair reps, no favorites. But behind the curtain, the pressure was already mounting, and it was coming straight from the top. Reports say Jimmy Haslam started having quiet conversations, not just with the front office, but directly with Stefanski, pushing the idea of starting Shedeur right out of the gate. No waiting, no development time. Just hand him the keys. And here's the problem. The staff wasn't sold. You had a veteran coach trying to protect his job, a GM who'd just taken a quarterback 2 rounds earlier, and an owner applying heat like it's week 15 with a playoff spot on the line. The fan base didn't know it yet, but Cleveland's locker room had just become a battlefield. And the players? Oh, they felt it. Shedeur arrived to camp as the clear QB4. No headlines, few reps. He was supposed to quietly learn, blend in, and take a back seat. Instead, things escalated instantly. Coaches were caught between doing what they believed was best for the team and what the owner expected. That friction created uncertainty in practice rotations, shifting reps in ways players couldn't ignore. Veterans started whispering, analysts started digging, and then something surprising started happening. Shedeur began outperforming expectations. In the midst of the drama, with limited reps, no first-team practice, and a target on his back, he started turning heads. His command in the huddle, his accuracy in tight spots, his poise under pressure. Even upper-level players began admitting it. From buried on the depth chart 1 week to locker room favorite the next. And suddenly, the coaching staff had a new kind of problem. What if the guy they didn't want was actually better than the one they backed? Because while the front office was still spinning, Shedeur had already moved on to proving he wasn't just ready, but unignorable. While the coaches argued behind closed doors and the front office tried to hit the brakes, Shedeur Sanders was doing exactly what most fifth-round rookies aren't supposed to do. He was dominating. He came into training camp as a depth piece, a project, the fourth arm in a crowded quarterback room. At best, people thought he'd ride the bench and learn. At worst, he'd be waived before opening day. But none of that rattled Shedeur. From the very first whistle at OTAs, something felt different. Sources say he was locked in, showing elite body language, tight mechanics, and an understanding of the playbook well beyond what's typical for a rookie. Coaches expected growing pains, and instead, they saw composure. Veterans expected a backup. They saw a quiet assassin. Every session, his stock climbed. Every throw, more momentum. By the time the Browns got into full-speed team sessions, Shedeur was getting noticed for all the right reasons. His accuracy in tight windows, sharp. His reads against disguised coverages, quick. His demeanor, stoic, almost unfazed. And the whisper started. He looks different. Not from media, not from fans, from inside the building. Denzel Ward, one of the Browns' most trusted voices on defense, reportedly told insiders that Shedeur doesn't just look good, he stands out. Off-the-record buzz coming from teammates kept growing. They weren't talking about Gabriel anymore. They weren't even talking about Flacco. Practices were becoming Shedeur's show. Fast forward just a few weeks, the rookie many expected to be practice squad fodder was now running with the second team and clearly putting pressure on the top of the depth chart. He didn't ask for the spotlight. He didn't campaign for reps. He earned them. And just like that, the Browns QB controversy wasn't theoretical anymore. It was very, very real. When Mary Kay Cabot reported that Shedeur Sanders was stuck at fourth string, the NFL world snickered. Twitter ran with it. Headlines called him a developmental long shot. Analysts said he was just another big name from college who wouldn't translate to Sundays. They didn't just doubt him, they buried him. You're only flashing against camp bodies. He's just Dion's kid riding legacy hype. Practice squad at best. But then something strange started happening. He kept proving them wrong. Again and again and again. Fast forward to minicamp, and everything that was once a joke started looking very real. Route timing? Clean. Pocket awareness? Solid under pressure. Deep ball accuracy? On point. And most importantly, players were talking. Not fans, not clickbait. Veterans, teammates, coaches. And when someone like Chad Johnson starts name-dropping defensive veterans who've seen everything, saying Shedeur just looks different, it's not hype anymore. It's confirmation. What happened next felt like a script flip in real time. Critics who once said Shedeur couldn't hack it, now cautiously praising his progress. Analysts who threw shade all spring, suddenly curious how high he might climb. Every accurate throw felt like a statement. Every practice, a headline. The media didn't want this story, but Shedeur kept forcing it into existence. Even ESPN heavyweight Stephen A. Smith weighed in, saying it's not just Shedeur's talent that stands out, it's his mentality, his command, the way he carries himself like a guy who knows the job is already his and is just waiting for everyone else to catch up. And guess what? They're catching up. Now, the fourth stringer everyone wrote off is the quarterback nobody can stop watching. And for the first time since draft night, people are starting to ask, did the Browns accidentally land the steal of the draft? Here's the thing about Shedeur Sanders. It's not just the arm talent. It's how he carries himself. We've seen gifted quarterbacks flame out before. Raw mechanics, fast 40 times, cannon arms. Doesn't matter if they can't survive the pressure, connect with the locker room, or command respect from day one. Shedeur? He walked in already built for more than just football. At every level, OTAs, minicamp, team meetings, players say the same thing. He's calm, focused, a real leader. While rookie QBs often look wide-eyed and overwhelmed, Shedeur stepped into the huddle like it was already his. He doesn't flinch when things go wrong. When he makes a mistake, he owns it, corrects, moves on. That's not hype, that's rare. Even veteran QB Joe Flacco, who's been around Super Bowl winning teams, went on record saying Sanders legitimately makes the QB room better. Not just by competing, but by showing maturity and a lighthearted confidence that lifts others up. He made me crack a smile in the meeting room, Flacco said. He's fun to be around. Wants to learn, wants to work. That matters. It matters in a league where locker rooms are tight, intense, and emotional. Every day in the NFL is a mental grind, and coaches aren't just looking for athletes. They're looking for anchors, communicators, guys who can weather storms and still show up focused. And in that department, Shedeur is outperforming every expectation. He's not complaining about reps. He's not sulking on the sideline. He's treating every snap like it's a playoff drive and carrying himself like a 10-year vet. That's what's turning heads across the league, even more than the tight spirals and touchdown highlights. Because when talent meets leadership, you don't get a backup. You get the guy. Some things in football can't be taught. You can spend years in the film room, memorize every play, throw hundreds of passes in practice. But if you don't have instinct, touch, and feel for the moment, you'll always be just another name on the roster. Shedeur Sanders, he's got that uncoachable juice. What started as just rookie flashes quickly became something else entirely. Accuracy and tight coverage? Check. Perfect timing on sideline throws? Check. Poise when the pocket collapses? Check. Insiders say he's already reading defenses like a second-year starter. He's not holding the ball too long. He's not panicking when the first read isn't there. He's processing, executing, delivering. And then came that throw. During a red zone team drill, Shedeur dropped a pinpoint corner route into the back pylon, pressure bearing down, receiver barely gaining separation, safety biting on the drag underneath, and Sanders hit the window perfectly in stride. It was one of those plays that made the room go quiet. Coaches looked at each other. Veterans nodded. You don't fake that kind of football instinct. You either have it or you don't. And that's when things got real, because it didn't matter what draft grade he had. It didn't matter what number he wore or what round he came from. When you perform like that in critical reps, the coaches have to take notice. What's standing out isn't just Shedeur's upside. It's how fast he's closing the gap between where he started and where he's going. Gabriel may have the early draft clout. Flacco may have the veteran reps. But neither of them are doing what Shedeur's doing in camp right now. Playing with confidence, vision, and touch that even the best coaching staff can't manufacture. This isn't just momentum anymore. It's a signal. The Browns may have just found a star, and they didn't even mean to. While Shedeur Sanders was climbing, Dillon Gabriel was stalling. At first, coaches talked up Gabriel as the veteran-style rookie. He had the bigger frame, the prototypical release, the years of experience, and he was drafted 2 rounds before Sanders. On paper, it made sense, but football isn't played on paper. From the very first OTA sessions, inconsistencies started creeping in. Under pressure, Gabriel's mechanics broke down. His footwork lagged, and worst of all, his arm didn't live up to the billing. Scouts had concerns pre-draft about his ability to push the ball downfield. Now we're seeing why those concerns had weight. Long throws floated. Sideline tosses lost zip. And when the rush came, he folded. Then came the worst moment. In a closed practice session, Gabriel had a pass batted at the line, not once, but twice. On the second deflection, it turned into a pick six. Suddenly, the talk shifted from who has more upside to can Gabriel even hang at this level? And the elephant in the room? His height. At just 5'11", Gabriel's smaller frame was always a question mark. Now, it's becoming a liability. Passes are getting swallowed up in traffic. Vision is limited from the pocket. Teams are sensing it. Defenders are adjusting. And analysts are openly wondering if he'll even make it out of camp as QB2, let alone QB1. Meanwhile, Sanders is moving in the opposite direction. Fast. Where Gabriel hesitates, Shedeur pulls the trigger. Where Gabriel floats passes, Sanders rifles them in stride. And more importantly, players are responding to Shedeur. NFL franchises can survive bad picks, but what they can't do is ignore when the better quarterback isn't the one they drafted first. The Browns didn't plan for this battle to get this tense this fast, but now it's impossible to avoid. One rookie is slipping, one is soaring, and the window to make the right call is closing quickly. No one saw this coming. The Browns didn't expect a 5th-round rookie to steal the spotlight. The coaches didn't plan on a quarterback battle spiraling out of control. And the fans? They were told Shedeur Sanders wouldn't be a factor, at least not this season. But now, everything has changed. From 4th-string afterthought to 2nd-team standout, Sanders has pushed his way straight into the heart of the quarterback conversation. Not with politics, not with flash, with performance. In fact, the only thing more surprising than how fast he's rising is how fast the other guys are falling behind. Dillon Gabriel entered camp with the starting job within reach. He had draft status, reps, and backing. But now, he's sliding, struggling, losing confidence. And every mistake he makes, Shedeur is there to capitalize. Meanwhile, the Browns' coaching staff is stuck in a pressure cooker. Ownership wants headlines. The locker room wants leadership. The fans want answers. And Shedeur Sanders, he just keeps showing up, looking like the answer nobody expected. So what happens next? Does Kevin Stefanski stick to the original plan? Slow play the rookie, ride with the safer pick, and pray the fan base doesn't melt down if the season starts rocky? Or does he hand the keys to number 12 and let this thing really begin? Because make no mistake, the clock's ticking. The longer they delay, the louder the noise gets. The buzz around Sanders isn't just hype anymore. It's here, it's happening, and it's only getting louder. The Shedeur Sanders era is knocking on Cleveland's door, and someone's got to decide whether to open it or get out of the way. So, what do you think? Should Shedeur start week 1? Has Gabriel lost the job already? Drop your take in the comments, because this quarterback battle is far from over.